Tiga.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 1. We will present you about chapter 11. My name is Corina Kulatana Haura and my friend Yeni Agustiana and Indra Wijaya. So I will explain you. I will explain you about pricing decision. So pricing decision are a critical element of the marketing mix that must reflect cost, competitive factor, and customer perception regarding value of the product. In a true global market, the law of one price would prevail. So pricing strategy include market skimming, market penetration, and market holding. Novice experts frequently use the cost plus method when setting price. International terms of sale such as X work, DDP, FCA, FAC, FOB, SCIV, and CVR are known as Incoterms that and specify when party to a transaction is responsible for covering various costs. This and other costs lead to export price escalation. So, the accumulation of costs that occur when products are shipped from one country to another, expectation regarding currency fluctuation, inflation, and government control, and the competitive situation must also be factored into pricing decision. Next.
Going to the cases, I think these cases is talking about the LFMH, also luxury goods, um, also luxury goods bags like coming from Louis Vuitton Moet Hotep. So basically, this is the first theory coming from the Bernard James Antin Arnault is a French billionaire businessman and art collector. One of the world's ultimate task empire of 70 brands, including Louis Vuitton and Sephora. Next, going to the going to the LFMH is you can see on the PPT that there is what LFMH coming meaning and also coming from where, um, and also that is the returns of the portfolio of LFMH itself. Basically, LFMH have their own like strategy of pricing, coming from that they targeted we cannot say that it is in the lower price of the bags, but it is so expensive brands. And whenever we see like the generation of LFMH like Salons and also the other brands like, it will be so expensive. Why? Because they so always maintaining their like their quality in the high raw material, and also that is why the LFMH have a high price or expensive prices. So coming from this chapter about the pricing strategy, why the customers still being loyal with the LFMH stuff, because the first people thinking about the price test, and also they also consider about how this the quality will satisfy them. And also the strategy that come from the LFMI itself is because that LFMH doing the strategy by limited their product, like they do not produce their product into a big amount of packs, just a limited edition. So it will be not have a retailer or franchising so easily. So based on this case, we know that limited edition make people want to buy it, and also it's the consistency about the prices of the alat Kamha makes people use that as their asset. So it's like a gold, like the concept is like that. So what's happening basically is when like channel also challenge our the other list violent product facing the COVID-19. We know that an increasing number of luxury brands are adjusting pricing policy to account for some of the losses incurred from the global COVID pandemic. But will this strategy solve their interest in the long term? Based on Maria Ortelli, managing partner at consultant Ortel& Co, discussed the key strategic points for brands considered. It has always been the objective of luxury brands to manage their pricing strategy in a way that supports their brand equity, for example, product desirability, and also bottom lines. Luxury companies traditionally consider price increase as the most profitable level, while scarcity, for example, doesn't increase margin to protect and boost the perceived exclusivity of their product. But they also face the risk of sale loss when the pricing action are not successfully executed. But you know how they can adjust their pricing strategy while navigating the royal scene during the COVID-19 pandemic. In this challenging time of lockdown, for example, and the demand of contraction, luxury brands have increased even more than usual the price of their best-selling product to offset part of the compression of margin due to the pandemic. Like for instance, Chanel, which earlier this year confirmed it had brought the price up of its iconic handbags, or we call that 11, 12, and also Boy Gabriel and Extra, ranging between 5 until 17% in euros, and Louis Vuitton, which also raised the prices of some of its products in March and May. It is not surprising that brands of like Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, and Dior, whose handbags are product they are considered iconic and perceived by consumer as investment pieces, can be more bold in increasing prices to protect their margin. But not all companies have such strong brand positioning, and therefore cannot raise their prices so easily. That is why the brand also like have the direct impact to the prices. So uh, by finding the brand positioning with consistent pricing make this kinds of brand being long. In fact, when customers see price go up for products that are not iconic and top of mind, and begin to compare those products to others that are traditionally at a higher price point, a price increase can be just a result in big loss of sale. For instance, when product decided to significantly augment the price of its Galleria back some years ago in attempt to elevate its leather goods positioning. In move of a product that was already mature in its life cycle into a field of comparison with products from other brands that had a higher transaction at a particular moment, like the Dior, Bottega Veneta, and also the Chanel. Needless to say that the price increase was not something the consumer was willing to pay. Like was with Mulberry, for example, the British leather goods company tried to elevate its brands by increasing the prices dramatically, and consumers did not recognize this. Brands should always aim for the consistency. Yeah, this is the LFMI brands example, and also brands should always aim for consistency within their pricing attitude. On one hand, companies have to execute differentiated price increase for each product according to its desirable competitors and the demand environment. On the other hand, companies should be mindful not to overshoot the pricing power of their iconic bestseller in order to avoid an uneven and inconsistent price attitude in the product portfolio. Another thing to consider in the post of a COVID world is how much brands should exploit tactical opportunity with luxury customer traveling less. Many have increased prices in regions like China, where the recovery of the COVID-19 is gaining momentum. In comparison to Western countries where the demand is still weak, this is something that can be transitory and that is not advisable to pursue long term as it is important to keep the coherent global pricing to avoid the reacceleration of parallel imports. Finally, it is advisable that brands do not make too many price adjustments because at the end of the day, consumers want to buy a product with embodied lasting value and they can be put off by frequent price changes. In fact, customers all over the world are getting more and more sophisticated, informed, and aware about the luxury goods. And brand would do well not to estimate them. A solid pricing strategy required more than ever in the current COVID period. Consistency on multiple dimensions like market demand environment, brand tractions, product or pricing architecture, and geographical pricing differs. It's also worth noticing that increased gap of performance in the last year between the winning and losing brand has, has shown that usually the more successful brands are the ones who also manage better that pricing strategy and actors like Louis Vuitton, Dior, and Gucci. And, and next, going to the discussion, Indra will um, explain you about that.
Okay, for the discussion, the first question is what were the possible risks of Louis Vuitton first ever television advertising campaign? The answer is the risk that prevailed when Louis Vuitton launched its first television advertising campaign or that higher executives might raise the wholesale prices in an effort to prevent the discounted retailer from purchasing and reselling. This is a big risk due to the fact that they may resell in a massive market outlets and this can potentially damage image of the brand and making it available to all market and taking away the exclusivity. And then in fall 2011, the euro exchange rate was 1 euro is equal to $1.35. By spring of 2015, the dollar had 1 euro is equal to $1.10. Assume that a European luxury goods marketer cut the price of $80 linen suit by 10% when launching its spring 2015 collection. How would revenues have been affected when dollars prices were converted into euros? Okay, the first point is 2011 1 euro is equal to $1.35 and 2015 1 euro is equal to $1.10 and assume that 80 80 $8,000 should is equal to 8,800 euros at the $1.10 per one rate and then and $8,000 lineage should discounted at 10% is equal to 7,200 dollars and then after that 7,200 multiply by 1.10 is equal to 7,920 and then it means 8,800 minus by 7,920 is equal to 8,080, meaning that the seller lost the 8,000 €880 for the $800 price decline due to the conversion. And then the third question is, Louis Vuitton executives raised the prices in the late of 2000s, and sales continue to increase. What does this say about the demand curve for the typical Louis Vuitton customer? The demand curve of the Louis Vuitton customer is inelastic due to the fact that there was an increase in demand and sales despite the increase in price, and the reasoning of this can be of several. This entails that the demand curve is affected by what the customer feels is superior craftsmanship. Also, it is affected by exclusivity of a product, especially if not everyone is capable to purchase within that price range. It shows that the consumers of LV want the best disregarding price as an impact. And then the fourth question, compare and contrast the LVMH pricing strategy with that of accessible luxury brands such as Coach. Coach sells nearly all leather-based products while LV has branched out and now sells other products such as wine, cosmetic, watches, and jewelry. Coach brand's positioning can be described as accessible luxury. On the other hand, LV describes its brand as selling dreams. Also, LV has a small niche market that target high class, while Coach target middle to high class. Okay, that's all from us. Is there any question?
Enough.
Okay, if there is no question, we will close our presentation. Thank you for your attention.